So hey everyone, my name is Dia Mandal, and today I will discuss about the about the how does and a very important topic that how does a Spring Boot application works internally. So see the first of all, um we are going to focus on the auto configuration part. Now, first of all, we'll let understand about the Spring Boot application. So, Spring Boot application is a convenience that combines the other core annotations. Now, the Spring Boot annotation works with the iterated configuration. These three major core importance annotation: iterated configuration, iterated enable auto configuration, iterated component scan. So the iterate annotation indicates that the class is secure for the bin of definition of the application context. It's specialized for the iterate configuration. Now let's see. First of all, the iterate configuration means, okay, if you annotate your class with iterate configuration, it means your class is now eligible for creation of bins, just like XML, where we define the properties and the application context would read them and make them bin available by using the attribute um, configuration. Your class become configuration class, and which is used to ready to produce a bin. Okay, so let's see the another the added components. Now here you can see that it is combination of two words, that component and scan. So let's understand it. Now this is a certain annotation which works, which also known as for the stereotype annotation. Okay, so why does this mean? Because this annotation enables the component scanning. Okay, and it tells the Spring to scan the current packages and its sub packages for the Spring componentation. Now let's see the enable auto configuration. Now, enable auto configuration is majorly very important part in Spring Boot application, um, because because it has the auto configuration mechanism. Okay, that configure your application based on the dependency in your class path. Here I mentioned that the example that Spring Boot starter web. Okay, so this is your class path. Okay, and Spring Boot will automatically configure a web server like the Tomcat or JT I mentioned here. Sorry, that will auto configure on the web web server Tomcat or JT. Okay. Nice. Now, let see the iterated component that earlier discussed. Let's see that this stereotype annotations, which is normally don't require to define in configuration files, but uh, these are important parts. Just a second. Okay. Let's see the components. Okay. So that is controller, then iterated services, REST controller, and etc. Okay. Now that is are definited as a stereotype and creates on instance for each, making it available on your application context. Okay. Basically what happens, it look like your class path, and first of all we create an a class path. Okay, and the class path will be our Spring. This one, and this is our dependency, and we also with the class path, and it also look for the property dependency. Now the properties will be the application properties or application YAML file. Nice. So let's see. This is an depending on those, and it generates the configuration for your application, creating the necessary beans, etc., for your application to run smoothly. Okay. But the main question is, how does it know about to configure? Uh, so here when we see here I created an application, and if you see in your application that you created in your compiler, you will see there are some jar files. Okay, so in that jar file you will find the Spring Boot auto configure jar, and in that you will find this file called an Spring Factories, which is under the meta INF. Here, everything is listed out in the auto configure classes. And while I am using a lesser version of 2.7, so in your most new version 2.7, you will see this auto configuration files under this Spring Factories, and I will show you how you see this R will be listed almost, but in this, instead of this failure analyzer, you will see the auto configure. Okay, in below that you will see the enable auto configuration, then component scanning, and the configuration also, and some other cache files also you will see. But I have the lesser version of 2.7, so I will go to mostly mostly the beginners we are not know about it, so you should go for to see that auto configure imports in the Spring under the Spring this org Spring framework dot boot dot auto configure or dot auto configure imports. Okay, in imports you will see, so here you will see the cache auto configuration, then lifecycle auto configuration. Then instead of enable auto configuration in Spring Factories, it will move to the different files just for the auto configuration called the auto configuration imports. So, uh, so this how the instance of Spring Boot application simplifies the the setup of the Spring Boot application by providing a single point of your entry that handles the configuration, auto configuration, and component scanning, make it the standard auto configuration effectively in the main class of Spring Boot application. Okay, so the how does the this annotation do? It provides the information. Okay, I will write here. It provides information about a program's content that are included in the program itself. Okay. So mostly some very no most of the peoples are not um know about this content about the auto configuration because it works internally, and mostly these questions are asked in the interview. How does the Spring Boot application works internally? So this is important part. And this annotation which is used to configure the class that declares on one or more bin methods and also trigger the auto configuration and component scanning. Okay. So what is the main difference between the configuration and Spring Boot application? So the Spring Boot application is your application, and the Spring Boot configuration is that allows to work automatically, and which is useful for your unit testing or integration testing. That recommendation for the auto configuration, added Spring Boot auto configuration. So I hope so that you understand very well about the Spring Boot auto configuration. How does the Spring Boot application works internally? What is the difference between the Spring Boot application and configuration? How to find the Spring Boot auto configuration in your jar files, and what are the difference between the latest or previous versions. And mostly I will also give you an important example. If um, if you are working okay, if you are working in some dependency that for example, if you added an embedded Tomcat dependency, by default port of 808 will be used. And if you want to override this by setting the server port 808, so it will now the auto configure work. Okay, it checks your class path and property files, load the configuration class and list it in the Spring Boot factories based on the condition and creates the required bin automatically. So this works automatically, and it is a very magic part in the Spring Boot, and which is very important part of the Spring Boot. And this is core part, and I hope so that you understand very well. Thank you.